Hey YouTube, Grunt Reviews back in the studio. As you can tell by the combat shirt and the plate carrier I'm wearing, this will be another one of our plate carrier reviews. Guys, this will be on the Cytac tactical plate carrier. Guys, as always, go down below, like, subscribe, share us with your friend, drop a comments with your thoughts. And as always, I do have my buy me a coffee link down there below in the description. And let's get into it. All right, so without any further ado, we are going to jump right into this bad boy. I'm going to start at the sides actually and work my way around. So this does have a total of 9 magazine pouches from the factory. You have 3 on either side of the cummerbund, and you have 3 across the front in a placard. For a standard AR platform, the pouches do fit very easily. The front pouch, relatively easy to access when the carrier is on. The second or third get a little bit more difficult. You end up doing kind of the odd chicken wing, trying to get in there. My only point of improvements on these pouches inside the cummerbund is retention is pretty weak on these. If you were running or a decent amount of physical activity, they do kind of start to work their way up a little bit. So it would be nice to have some sort of bungee retention or maybe something just a little bit different there, but it is definitely still usable, still functional. Get these out of the way here. Of course, on the front we do have the placard. It does come with it and it is removable. And then underneath it we have some Velcro and then some more of the additional laser cut Molle there, so you could add something like a G-code Scorpion pouch. You could do like a HSGI taco if that's your thing. So they do give you a little bit of room to add your own thing. But it is nice that they do include a placard with it and provisions to change that out. The cummerbund itself is a quick release system. So what we have is a squeeze, lift out and release, and then same way to put it back on. This is a little hard to do from the back side. There we go. Squeeze and lock her in. Well, it's definitely a lot easier with it on. There we go, it locks in. So this actually uses sort of a double lock. You have those that grab as well as the shaft inside of the female portion of the buckle. Overall, buckles do seem to work well. Took the dog for multiple walks. Ended up using this on several runs as well too, to see how it performs in a more physical environment. And then, as always, we do take it to the range, make sure nothing is weird is going to pop up there. The cummerbund itself, not overall bad. Adjustment on it is done via the rear of the carrier. Fresh Velcro. All right, so adjustments done via the rear, and all you have to do is unvelcro the cummerbund and move either side to adjust it. I would say in the future, if you had another cummerbund that had this style of buckle on it. Obviously, you could change that out if you should so choose. But overall, not terrible. Would be nice if this was just a little bit stiffer. The elastic on this, just my tablecloth sliding here. Would be nice on this cummerbund if they added a little bit of stiffness to it. It's kind of squishy, and I noticed when I was running, as I would start to pick up the pace, it didn't quite squeeze the plate carrier as much as I would have liked. And when you tighten it down further to really get it tight, it ends up being a little bit too tight. Something a little bit stiffer might hold just a bit better. But overall, like I said, still very usable. I should also mention, full disclosure, Cytac reached out to me and they did send this carrier to me free of charge. That is in no way going to affect my review, but I wanted to put that out there for full disclosure. Overall, front and rear, both of them do have the laser cut Molle in them. I did notice, and it came in handy at the range, on the front, they've got 3 little extra pieces that make fantastic little pen pockets. Not a huge deal, but it is kind of a nice touch. The shoulder straps themselves are padded. It's a little bit of a thinner, a little bit of a stiffer pad. I think this should hold up pretty well. There's 2 schools of thought on this. The more padding, obviously, the more comfortable you are. The less padding, the less comfortable. However, the less padding you have, the less interference with shouldering a weapon system. And the more padding, the more interference. So it's all a little bit of a trade-off, and some of that will boil down to personal preference. With this, I noticed no issues with this carrier getting in the way of shouldering a rifle or shouldering a shotgun. No issues there, very easy. And just in traditional walking or moving, carrier does stay in place very well. Also on the shoulder straps, we do have the same style buckles, or we have a buckle on one side, I should say, but it is that same style buckle. So it is a quick release to get out of one side of the carrier, which is kind of a nice thought. Most people are right-handed, so it gets that buckle out of the way and off of your right shoulder. Obviously, lefties, you're going to have to put up with that. But kind of interesting thought. Little bit of an OCD thing. Would be nice to have a buckle on both sides just so you can get completely out of it a little bit quicker. Something more like an Agilite K19 or a Shellback Banshee. But once again, still very usable, just a small point of improvement. Adjustment for this carrier is done at the top here, and this is where I wish they had done a little bit more to improve this. It's just 2 pieces of Velcro stuck together. There's no buckle, there's no lock or anything like that. And then once you've done that, the shoulder pad just simply slides over it. While it's not necessarily a bad system, I would worry about longevity long term. If that Velcro does start to pick and pull, you have nothing else really holding it in. And a lot of other plate carriers are like this, but they use a wider and a little bit stiffer Velcro to them. Not a huge deal, but something I did want to take the time to point out. Plate bag wise, these are very simple, plate just slides in. There's no adjustment or anything like that. Up front here, I have an RMA Armament 1192 level 4 ceramic plate. And in the rear here, I have the AR500 or Spartan Armor Systems AR500 steel shooter's cut. So the bag does hold, of course, steel as well as ceramic plates as well. So the additional depth on the ceramic is not an issue at all. You can go either way with it. Or if you were to use this as a weight vest and you wanted to put some sand plates, whatever you'd like to call those, the sandbags that are plate shaped, should clear those without an issue as well. Insertion on these is pretty much as you would expect. Velcro's in on the bottom, and your plate just slides in and out. They don't have an additional adjustment, so if you want this to ride as high as possible, you just have to roll your Velcro bottom up as far as you can. Pretty common with a lot of plate carriers. I do like the Agilite system with the buckles built in where you can cinch it down. Not a huge deal. Both systems work fine. This is more of a Coke, Pepsi type preference thing. On the back side of this bad boy, or the body facing side of this, they include some very nice padding, and it is stood off from the body. Supposed to, of course, help with airflow. I do kind of like this herringbone design. Does get a little bit more flow, and I did notice in running, I didn't get quite as bad the sweat outline that likes to build up when you're wearing a carrier. Only point of improvement on this, would have liked to seen these pads actually sewn to the back of the plate. They are only attached essentially by the sides. I think with repeated donning and doffing, you can end up possibly pulling one of those loose. And it is just a standard style stitching here. I'm not seeing like a bar tack or anything like that. So it would be nice if they could just run a simple stitch down the side just to hold these to the carrier. But the padding system and the venting on it actually does work pretty well on this unit. I was very pleasantly surprised with it. On the rear, there we go. We do have a drag handle, and that drag handle is Velcroed down. One thing I noticed, and I've got some big paws, this is kind of a smaller handle. Would be nice if they went just a little bit bigger for guys that have bigger hands, or if you have gloves on and you do need to use this for its intended purpose of moving someone. Would be nice to see that extended out just a little bit. And overall, we do have plenty of room to add placards, or excuse me, Velcro patches, not placards. We have a placard on the front, but you can add patches or identifiers, both front and rear. Guys, kind of wrap this thing up. Comfort on this, actually surprisingly good. MSRP, the file they sent me said $129.95. I looked at their website, Cytac store. It's showing $149.95. Possible with everything going on in the world that there was a price increase there. Value for the money. There is other options in this category that may be better suited to your needs. However, there's not many. It's decent carrier for the money, for sure. We've all seen the cheap $70, $80 carriers. This does give you some additional padding and some additional comfort over those. And of course, getting that placard, it's usually a $30 to $40 to $100 option, depending on how much money you want to spend. So it is nice that you do get that in advance. The quick release I do like, just because the repeated lift and flip and cinching the cummerbund down with the Velcro, eventually that Velcro does wear out. Not saying that these can't break, but to me, I've seen that they tend to last a little bit longer. I would say if you are an avid airsofter, if you're doing LARPing or anything like that, plate carrier would definitely work well for you. If you're looking for something in the active shooter or an emergency type situation and you want an inexpensive carrier and armor setup, this does function well for that as well too. And the fact that it does fit steel plates without a bunch of extra bagginess like some of the other carriers, that is definitely a nice feature. And like I said, if you wanted to put some armor plates in this, or you wanted to put some weights and use it for training, it would definitely function for that as well. Deployability, I don't know if I would take this overseas. There's a couple other options I would probably choose: an Agilite K19, maybe a shellback Banshee, like that new 3.0. We'll have a review coming out on that as well. Something that's built just a little bit more stout. This one's definitely not bad, but anything that you could very often have to depend on with your life, I like something just a little bit better. That being said, when you step into those other options, you are jumping the price sometimes over double, sometimes 80%. So that is a trade-off, and it's all in how much you want to spend. Overall, definitely not a bad option, and definitely something to consider. Like I said, especially the airsoft guys, the LARP guys. This would work very well for you for those purposes. They sent me some holsters and stuff as well too. So over the next couple weeks, I will have some reviews on those as well. Guys, I do appreciate your time watching this. As always, stay safe, train hard.